This episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast is brought to you in part by No Judges Needed BJJ Apparel and Lavender Lane CBD products. You can use the promo code JJT for 20% off your first order at No Judges Needed, and the code JJTimes20, all uppercase. Last two items are numerical for 20% off your first order of CBD products. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. I am your host, Kevin Bradley, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Kevin Gallagher, and returning guest, fan favorite of both yours and mine, Third Coast Grappling promoter, military veteran, and all-around solid dude, built like a brick shithouse, Ryan McGuire, the man himself, Mr. McGuire. Thank you for coming back. You're one of our first repeating guests. How are you doing?
You're welcome. I mean, I enjoy talking with you guys, but just to correct the record, I'm built like a shit house, not a brick shit house, like just a complete shit house. Because I basically like exited the jujitsu training for right now, just because it's just been too risky in between events. I've been trying to like self quarantine in between and just kind of stick with my family, stay at home, and kind of just stay away from it. Because after this last event, we kind of had our first I guess scare, you could say. Like I'm starting to like know a lot more people like personally that are becoming COVID-19 positive, and it's just it's starting to hit close to home. So there was some crossover stuff with our event and other people's stuff that we had to sort out, but it ended up, everybody else there was everybody was negative at our event except for somebody else that was kind of not associated. It wasn't associated with our event. It happened at another event, but we definitely, we woke up to that. And I talked to the people that we have on staff, like our doctors and people that have been working with us, and kind of started figuring out what we got to do to legitimize this thing. We can't be allowing athletes to compete on our mats with COVID-19. Can't allow my staff to, host the events, COVID-19. So we're definitely, I've kind of enlisted a rapid testing deal where I brought in somebody that has the COVID-19 rapid blood test, and we're going to basically run it ourselves. And, we're all getting training on it this week. And then, it's going to be something that's going to be standard for us moving forward, at least for the time being.
Okay, well, just you briefly talked about the problems that you ran into putting this latest Kumite Tournament together. Absolutely stacked card, a lot of high-level talent. But talk about how the situation developed in your state of Texas as the lead up to this card, just because it was a pretty big deal how things were getting, and there was a lot of worry leading up to it.
Yeah, there's the same worry for this one, but I mean, honestly, it's back then it was everybody in 4th of July. I mean, not 4th of July, Memorial Day kind of started the whole thing. And then it was kind of like there was a lot of big protests in Houston, which is kind of uncharacteristic for the city. And it was like all this mixing, going to the beach, Memorial Day, the protests. And then I think just enhanced testing really led to a big spike in numbers in Houston, because I think in Texas, we were one of the slowest to actually roll out, good testing sites, to be able to, because Texas is a pretty big state. So you got a lot of rural areas, you got a lot of areas that aren't close to, big cities. So, I mean, it's really spread out. So, I mean, I think the governor kind of took a good approach by going like county by county. Like Harris County, which is Houston, has over 40,000 cases right now. And Galveston County, where I'm from and where we host the events, has like 3,500 or under 4,000. And then where we've been hosting the events is in Friendswood, Texas, which is, I think, 280 cases as of today throughout the whole pandemic. So, I mean, we've been kind of, we've had an epidemiologist that works with us and people like that have been really helping us look at the numbers and decide the safest way to go. And, I was really anti-mask for or being told or telling people they have to wear a mask. Like we always provided them, but now it's in Texas is a mandatory masking on top of with the testing we're going to do with the athletes, and then just kind of a few other things we're going to do show wise that I think will make it even safer, because I mean the other option is shut down, and I'm not going to be shut down unless they shut us down. So that's kind of where we're at with all that.
Has any of these new policies rubbed any of the athletes the wrong way? Just because I know was there any concern leading up to this match from different athletes because of how the spikes were happening in Texas, or was everyone pretty much game?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, the athletes they're ready to go. It was they didn't really care. I mean, we had doctors there that were doing what we had to. We had them sign waivers, and I think that's what you're going to see is really big. That's going to come about because you have to allow spectators back when the NFL starts, and the NFL will start. They're going to allow spectators, but they're going to make sure that if you're attending, you have to sign a waiver that says, hey, if you get sick from here, you can't sue the team. So we've been doing that since day one with our Kumite events with spectators. We're like, hey, sign this. These are the risks. This is what could happen. Please sign that you're not going to sue us. Like, this is crazy. We're throwing it, but we had to cover ourselves in that way. But we've been offering masks and stuff throughout. So I mean, we've tried to do the right thing, but Texas was kind of the Wild West there for a little bit, and I really wasn't into forcing people to wear masks and do all kinds of stuff if it wasn't mandated yet. So we were just kind of going with the changes day to day.
I know that the mandates have changed, but you personally, have your opinions on masks changed at all? Just not to hold you to it, but I am curious.
Yeah, I think a product of somebody that is a high level thinker, somebody that wants to kind of see things for what it is and kind of can look at things kind of unbiasedly. They should be able to look at the data and support and against, and then discern what makes sense to you as a person, and then use common sense. And common sense says that everybody should be wearing a damn mask right now if you're out in a public place. And they could say, oh well, I don't care if I get it. So if you're wearing the mask, aren't you protected? You hear all that, and I was all mixed up in that. But what it comes down to is kind of like a show of respect at this point. Like if you're out in public, wear a mask. I mean, if you're around people that could possibly be symptomatic, or you're kind of in a high risk environment, which you can kind of tier off at like gym levels and this. I mean, but I think just the bottom line is just wear a mask, wash your hands, and be a responsible adult. I mean, that's kind of, it's not too much to ask, right? I mean, I guess it was, because if people were, we wouldn't have had all these big spikes and shutdowns and everything. But I think people are really getting in line. I see more masks, and I see more people kind of taking it seriously now. So I guess that's a good sign.
I wrote an article for a different publication that should be coming out next week about mask wearing, and I did a whole lot of research on it. And it's amazing to me that I still see people that are holding out on the idea of not wearing a mask for various reasons, whatever conspiratorial thoughts they have towards it. It's fairly obvious. I mean, there were a lot of mistakes were made. There wasn't a lot of clarity, and there wasn't a lot of unity and leadership on whether or not a mask is important or not. But the idea is that masks aren't there to protect you. You're not the virus particles are too small to be protected from a mask when you ingest it. But when you breathe them out, they're attached to large droplets of water. And these moisture, the viruses don't come out as virus particles; they come out as moisture particles, which get attached to the mask. So now, if you're asymptomatic and you're walking around, you might be safe. You're not exposing other people, which then thereupon makes the virus more rampant. So it's ready available for other people to that are immune compromised to catch it. Yeah, it's beyond me. It's the science is so simple, and it makes me crazy when I see people say I couldn't wear a mask for 20 minutes when I go walk through Walmart, so I couldn't possibly wear a mask for an hour while I'm at an event. It's like you're just making.
I mean, honestly, what we're gonna do is the rules are is that you have to have your mask on unless you have a food or beverage. So we do allow free VIP beer for our VIP ticket holders. So they have a beer in their hand. I mean, they can have their mask off drinking the beer. Right?
I get it too, man. It's like it's the same thing at restaurants.
Back and forth. I mean, we're trying to keep it as safe and as normal as possible. And I mean, when it came down to it, it was kind of more of like the government really has fumbled this thing, and so I'm having a really hard time listening to much of anything they're telling us to do.
That's the problem. That's the biggest problem.
So that's kind of where I was at with like the anti-mask, like, oh well, because the WHO was saying don't wear masks, CDC saying wear masks, and Dr. Fauci saying it doesn't matter if you wear. Like, it's just there was just so much disinformation. So that's why I was lucky to have two people in my network that are good friends of mine. That he's out there. One of our guys, Dr. DeGar, is out there building a COVID lab right now in Minnesota. So we have some guys that are really, in the mix that have given us, outstanding advice from the beginning. I mean, they weren't always in line with what we wanted to do. They can advise, but ultimately I was trying to just keep the show going, because I mean, that was one thing I wanted to show is the consistency. Look, we had to cancel our event for COVID-19 last time. And there was a lot of stuff that came out around that was kind of disinformation that wasn't true. So it was kind of like, let's get back to work. Let's put out a solid series of shows. Let's get consistent again, and let's just get back to work and let our work do the talking. So I kind of took a step back and just and just focused on work. That's all we could really do. I mean,
at the end of the day,
people were online kicking each other's asses all day and talking all. I mean, toxic. Social media became so toxic.
So toxic.
and it was to the point to where I was like, I can't do this. So I just kind of tunnel visioned into our event, and we made a lot of changes over the last 4 months. We trimmed staff. We've restructured. Obviously, we're doing tournaments right now instead of super fights. I mean, there's just a lot of things we had to do to adapt to the times. So that's what you do. You adapt or you die. So we're just trying to put on the best show still that we can, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring that up with one of the images on your the public social media page here. Now, obviously, the brand of Third Coast Grappling has always been party environment, like a fun experience for everybody. Was it hard to generate that in this type of venue? Because I saw that the venue ended up being, it looks like a gym.
Yeah, it's like a big multi-purpose, like multi-use facility type thing, and we just threw the mats right on the turf and built a custom production, around it. I mean, that's kind of my bread and butter, is like to do these pop-up things. I used to do outdoor festivals and all kinds of stuff, so it was a unique challenge to try and put together something that looked good in person and in TV. And it is what it is. We're not trying to be, the most overproduced, spending $50,000, $100,000 on production. I mean, we're trying to give an underground vibe for the times that we're in. We don't need some giant venue when we can only sell 100, tickets to 100 spectators because of occupancy limits. You know what I mean? So it was a matter of, being able to have enough space to do the event and to still keep it fun and still make it a Third Coast Grappling show. But we kind of got put in time out after last event because, I kind of led by wrong example. And I like to, we were drinking a couple of the free beers on the broadcast and having a good time. And, the Flow Grappling guys were like, hey, your commentators are being drunk assholes. So can we cut back on the booze? So we had to, that's a new one. So Third Coast Grappling is an alcohol-free event from now on. So no more leisure beers during the event. So we're kind of,
that's funny.
A little bit, but
that's funny.
It's been fun, man. These shows have been a trip. I mean, like having Andre of Allentown for almost all of June last month was insane, just to be able to sit down and talk with him and pick his brain on stuff. And just Shanji was there last event. I mean, you just had Cyborg. I mean, just gigantic name after gigantic name. So it was it's been cool, man, just to sit and talk with these guys in such a intimate environment. So people seem to really be into it. The energy is really high. I mean, we've been having sports guys are still coming out. Brian Cushing, Astros shortstop Carlos Correa came out. So I mean, we've been having ticket sales are better now than right now for this coming event than they've been for all the other three. So it's a weird time. Like, people are supposedly scared, but they're not scared to go to a jiu-jitsu event or grappling event. So I don't know. We're just trying to make it as safe as possible.
All I want to know is when you're going to have Kevin Gallagher highlight one of these shows. Just because, like, everyone knows that's the draw. You know what I mean?
I said we're going to have a Masters Championship, but since we're in the gimmick matches, it's going to be like the two guys, and they're going to have like two beer steins, like German style, and they got to chug them, and then they got to grapple. And then
I think I'm down. My knee's so fucked up anymore, man. I'm starting to think my competition days are behind me, man. I'm enjoying it.
I'm feeling the same. I turned 35, and it was just like, okay, now it's coronavirus. Now it's this, and it's like, I don't know. I'm ready to get back to training, but
do you guys want me to make you both feel like shit tomorrow on July 8th, because we're recording this the 7th? That is my 24th birthday.
24. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If you were a chick, I'd probably date you, but that's just
and you've ruined it. You've taken Kevin Gallagher has single-handedly taken all the joy I felt and destroyed it. You've destroyed it, Mr. Gallagher.
Anyway, as I lose fans and
if Kevin Bradley, if they said, you know what, we're gonna make you a female, you'd be an attractive female.
Yeah, they usually get pretty skin, right?
Okay, I've gone from looking forward to my birthday, celebrating another year alive, to wishing I had never been born in 0
Creepy
seconds
old
flat.
man. Don't worry about us. We're still here.
Okay, and what the fuck was I even gonna say? That's so thoroughly thrown me off. Let's cut to something else. Let's just talk about this card. This absolute, like, the units here are just they're blowing my mind. How did it feel putting this together? What was like the thought process? Just because we've had like matchmakers like Heather Standing on from Submission Underground, so we know a little bit about what it takes to wrangle talent for stuff like this. But how do you deal with it?
Honestly, my stuff is real analytical. I like to go and look at, because we have a certain criteria and stuff that we go by, to that kind of affects how we, how we do our show. I can't get too much into it because it's contract stuff, but there is certain things that we have to do, contract wise. So that start with that, right? And then I start researching. I start reaching out to guys, reaching out to coaches, and I start kind of pinpointing the guys. I usually put a target list together of the guys that I want, starting with like number 1 through 10. And then I start researching them, looking at styles. And like from the first one through the 4th one, it's just been like a dream. It's been like a dream kind of being able to put together some of these matches. Like, for instance, I mean, I get Roberto Jimenez to say yes, Nicky Rod, Cyborg, Arnaldo, Lucas, Felipe, Gustavo, and Johnny. I mean, getting them to say yes, and then it's like, now I get to make the bracket. So it's kind of like a mad scientist thing, because I don't do seeding. I don't do anything. Like, I know that people want to see Nicky Rod and Roberto Jimenez fight each other if they're in the same bracket at all. So how do I guarantee that we see that? I put them in the first one. I don't want to take chance and be like, oh, well, if he beats so-and-so and he beats so-and-so and then they meet in the finals and then we'll get to see it. I'm like, no, like, we're going to get our money's worth right off the bat. So, I mean, it's all about creating super, like, exciting matches, because regardless of who wins, like, if Cyborg beats Arnaldo, you've got either Roberto Jimenez or Nicky Rod versus Cyborg to go to the finals. Like, that there alone, I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, it writes itself.
I'm trying to find a series, like a combination that I'm not happy with, and I'm not coming up with anything. I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah, like Felipe and Lucas is going to be a barn burner. I mean, Felipe looked really good in the gi. He came up short, to Victor, but he looked great, man. And then what he did to Gustavo's, like, man, like, just seeing them belly down ankle locks from like straight, like, up close. Like, Gustavo just had a sheer tear on his face. I mean, those things looked like they were about ready to snap his legs off. And then afterwards, he just was like iced down, like, from lead. I was like, Jesus. But I mean, dude,
Johnny Thomas, the smallest competitor in the event, Johnny Thomas.
Yeah, Johnny Thomas. I think he's like 175 or something. So
yeah, he's awesome.
All I gotta do is ask, and he's like, "Yes, whatever, man." So it's like, let's go. So I wanted a smaller, scrappy guy in there to kind of do the David Goliath thing in the first round and see how it goes. And then, but it's more for excitement, man. I mean, we also have the Gordon Ryan thing with WeDefy that we're doing. I've been getting the logistics and everything of that planned out, working with Travis, the new president over there, and a lot of people, within the foundation. So we're really coming up on, Brian Marvin, his opponent is actually a former president of WeDefy. So, I know there's a lot of stuff out there about Gordon, about what he says about this and that and that. And I don't defend it. I've said way dumber shit than he said in my life. And, but it's not an excuse, like, I want to play the character and morality police as much as I can, but I know the guy. I've talked to him, about what he's saying. And a lot of the stuff, it's just a matter of age and growing up. I don't think I'm going to take away a guy's, way to make a living or whatever. If he comes to me and says, I want to raise money for a charity, I don't want to be paid anything, and I'll show up and do this, I'm not going to turn that down when I can leverage the biggest name in grappling to raise potentially, our milestone for Saturday night's $50,000. So if we get $50,000, that's 25 soldiers that are going to get, a year of training, for free, just based off of that event. So, I mean, charity, I'm all in right now. There's nobody really to fight Gordon, and there's not the economics in the game right now to really support, the amount that he gets paid. So I think this is kind of the best route for him, going through to ADCCs to do maybe some exhibition matches and some fun, off-kilt matches and just see how it goes. But I mean, he's going against Brian Marvin. It's going to be fun, kind of like a Rocky Thunderlips kind of thing. Not really like Rocky fighting Clever Lang or Apollo. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun. But I mean, the main attraction is obviously the Kumite, but Gordon will be that main super fight at the top. So, with Gordon Ryan brings in all kinds of fun attention.
So is there any Gordon made a post right when this announcement, prior to this announcement coming up, about how there was going to be a charity event with one of a great grappler in the community, retired grappler, someone that's like a big name in the community, and then kind of somewhat backtracked a little bit and said that, alluded towards the fact that there were other people that were asked to compete in this charity event that turned down the opportunity. Can you expand upon that? I mean, and the only reason I ask is because, just like you said, like, you can say whatever you want about Gordon Ryan. I honestly don't appreciate some of the things he says, but like at the end of the day,
he knows that. I don't. We didn't talk for I think almost. I mean, after the 3CG thing, and he lost out on $20K, and we had to cancel the event. Right. I mean, we weren't very happy with each other there for a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and act like we've been best friends through all this. I mean, there was definitely some heat and that had to be sorted out. But, I'm a pretty reasonable guy. I mean, unless you fuck me over about 2 or 3 or 4 different times, excuse my language.
Right.
I mean, I'm usually going to, if you're man enough to come talk to me and we can work our differences out and misunderstandings where we're at, I'm willing to give you another shot. I did it with Tex Johnson. I've done it with other, people that may have had some character issues or may have, got themselves into something. I have no problem helping people out because, if there wasn't people there to help me out when I was down, I mean, I never would have been able to get where I was at. So
yeah, and the fact that he's coming out and doing this charity event, like, you can say whatever you want about him, and and at the end of the day, like, everything he does, he's a kid. He's voicing his opinion on fucking Facebook. What are we going to do? We're going to throw him in jail for that just because it's not. Some of the things he says are cringeworthy, but that's what he believes, and he's a young kid that maybe doesn't understand the world as much. But
he's literally 1 year older to the day than I am. His birthday is tomorrow too.
And Kevin's pretty woke though. Kevin's pretty smart.
Yeah, he is a worldly kid. But the idea is that, what he says is what he says. I can't say I agree with it. And I think some of the things he says are very, very cringeworthy. But there's nothing, he toes the line of in propriety and not. He kind of plays that little game. But that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is it's amazing. Again, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say about him. I'm not donating my time and effort to raise money for a charity organization, which I care enough about, was WeDefy. So I applaud him for that regardless. The question I wanted to ask you, can you shed any light on the idea that there were other grapplers? Because Brian Murray,
this wasn't even about that post he was talking about wasn't even our event.
Oh, was it a different event?
No, he had something set up with Flow Wrestling, I think, to do something with Steve Mako, but the logistics didn't work out, and he ended up, they ended up not doing it. So, I mean, I've been talking to Gordon about this for a little while now. Like, we were waiting for things to kind of the stars to align, and this did. He's coming out to coach Nicky Rod. I think Jay's coming out too. And then, we've got his girlfriend competing with the benefits from their match going to an alopecia charity for Mona Bailey. I'm sure you guys know who she is. She's kind of like the alopecia.
Yeah.
So she's fighting Gordon Ryan's girlfriend in an all subs legal no-gi match. She's only like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, she's 16.
She's awesome, man.
So
that's cool though, man. I was curious if Brian Marvin was the original competitor.
Well, my idea initially was to bring somebody like gigantic in, right? But most people right now are like, there's just Gordon is a unique character in the way that he either will alienate or he'll bring you in, and he's a relatively good guy. Most of my dealings with him, so he's when it came down to making the match, it's easy to work with Gordon because like he'll say yes to anything, pretty much. I mean, if it makes sense. And the Brian Marvin thing with him being the former president of WeDefy, he's hosted Gordon before for seminars at his gym. We all know each other. There's a trust there. There's a relationship there because it comes down to, people trusting each other, and Gordon being able to trust somebody is not going to come in there and try and do something stupid when he's expecting it to be an exhibition. And,
right.
So it was just a matter of also finding the right opponent. I think Brian, he has a big following here in Houston. He runs a group of Henzo Gracie affiliates here in Houston. And, it's just, he's well known in the veteran community. Like I said, former president of WeDefy. So it just made sense. It's like I said, it's a special attraction. It's an exhibition and a chance to raise some money for a good cause. I mean, we're not out here trying to put, not like literally no match Gordon versus anybody really even tickles my fancy right now. Like, so it was like, there's nothing really out there. I mean,
okay. All right. Hey, Ryan, I was going to say something, but I'm just going to float an idea out to you.
Uh-oh.
Gordon Ryan, Mikey Musumeci in the gi. You know, that's all I'm saying. Just putting it out
Well,
there. I know it won't happen. I know it won't, but oh my God, I would love it. I'd love it so much.
That Gordon said he couldn't pass his guard. He told me directly. He's like, I could not pass Mikey's guard in the gi. He's like, I couldn't do it. Like there was no way. So I mean, I'd love to see it, but getting Gordon in the gi, I don't think that's ever going to happen because I tried to for this.
Okay, how about this? How about this? Mikey in the gi, Gordon rash guards. Just like let's make it a complete Samba
and
Samba.
I need this to happen. What do I need to what rules do I need to bend and twist and make up in order to make this happen? DM me later after the show.
That sounds like a Flow Grappling who's number one match or something crazy. Like Herbert Santos versus a goat on live like something. I don't know. Like that's more of them. Like I'm saying, we're gonna get away from these gigantic. I mean, if the super fights are gonna happen on our events, they're gonna happen in our tournaments because we're structuring like we're gonna roll out August 8th at double elimination tournament with some of the top 170 guys and below in the world. I mean, we've got Ritolos, Wagner, Dante Leon. I mean, we're gonna bring in the top, literally top lightweights and no-gi in the world for that 8-man double elimination. So we're going to see potentially 15 matches between potentially top 5 guys in the world. You know, it's going to be insane. Like that double elimination thing's going to change the game.
Now, real quick, just because you talked about shifting away from like big marquee matches to diversifying what you're doing with like the tournaments. You briefly talked about this matchup, which I thought was very interesting. Bailey versus Santoro. Lower belts, like not.
I love lower belts. I love them.
No, I was just actually I was using this as a way to ask, like, are we going to see more super fights or big matches with like different belt levels? Just because I know you've been doing that for a while, but are we going to see more marketing behind them?
I mean, this event, I think every super fight on the event besides Maggie Grandotti versus Vera Toscano is between blue belts. So it's blue belt ladies, blue belt males. But a lot of the blue belt men I've been working with have been collegiate wrestlers or high school wrestling backgrounds. They get their blue belts that have very high level pedigrees in wrestling because they bring that wrestle jitsu style is so exciting, man. When you bring in a blue belt that has that wrestling engine that knows a little bit about, you know, what they're doing a little bit, and you throw them in there against, you know, maybe just somebody, just a normal blue belt or somebody that just has jiu-jitsu experience. Like we're going to see it this weekend with Dakota Hope versus Victor Sebra. It's a pure jiu-jitsu guy versus a pure collegiate wrestler guy, MMA. You know, he's probably a fight away from the UFC right now. So, I mean, that's something we're trying to do. It's not, I mean, I think the belts are kind of, they're kind of inconsequential to me because, I mean, you go to brown belts and you match the top brown belts together, which we've done at our qualifiers events, and you're going to get a lot of tactical type matches to where they're playing the rules or they're playing more there's kind of more, they're more fluid. Like if you get a blue or purple belt and you throw them in there, they usually go ape shit because they love the attention and they don't really care. And they just throw caution to the wind. So I think the majority, I mean, a lot of our brackets that we did, what kind of honed us up for these Kumite events was our qualifiers events, because we did normally have 2 brackets, 8-man or 8-woman brackets with super fights in between it. So just for time's sake, and to kind of make it a more watchable and palatable event so people could watch from beginning to end, we just took the one bracket and lined up 6 or 7 local super fights to kind of help with ticket sales a little bit, but also, you know, to kind of just give a buffer in between the tournament and the matches. So that's kind of how we came up with like the 13 match sweet spot we're at right now with it.
You know, and a lot of times now you're talking about the inconsequential or inconsequential, whatever, I can't think of the word. Inconsequential nature of the belts. And, you know, the reason being is because, you know, we're starting to see such an influx of, first of all, you have ridiculously high level athletes that are now turning to jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu is fun. It's becoming more mainstream, so you're attracting more talent. But you're also starting to see the reality of these young superstars that have been training since they were, you know, 10, 12 years old, like William Tackett and Roberto Jimenez. That, you know, Roberto Jimenez just got his black belt recently, but you know, he's been training for, you know, 10 years,
5 years old.
Yeah, in that time when you're learning things at such an accelerated level at that young age, that now, you know, you've forgotten more about jiu-jitsu than most black belts that have been training for, you know, a similar time frame. So you're seeing these guys like William Taggart. Like William Taggart's a fucking black belt. I mean, he competes at a black belt level because he's only a kid. He hasn't got his black belt yet. So.
I mean, he'll tell you he's a brown belt in the gi, but I mean, in no gi, he's definitely a black belt. You know, he did that Kumite in the gi with us and had a tough outing against Pedro Mourinho. You know, in that first in that match between them and the gi. But you know, in no gi, I think he's very hard to beat. You saw it at Jits King. I mean, he did pretty well there, and then just ended up losing to Roberto at that split last second. So it was I think William's right there with him. I mean, William obviously is a phenom himself. Him and Berto grew up together, running the same circuits in Texas, and I mean they've trained together. They've made each other better. And Roberto's just he's like in a weird matrix zone right now with his jiu-jitsu because he's putting stuff together. Like if you watch that body locked back take he did, like it was like 3 moves like he was anticipating ahead. So his partner picks him up. He's in full guard. And then he drops his weight, basically stand up, hit that inside Sotogari or whatever it is to kind of trip the guy. And then off of that, he goes to the body lock straight to the back and anticipates the Granby roll and ends up on his back. I was like, this is like, where's this jiu-jitsu coming from, man? Like, this was unreal.
Yeah, Jimenez is good, man. I was at that Jits King in Tampa or in Largo about a month or so ago and watching those young and up-and-coming stars. It was impressive to see how good those guys are and how complete the game is. And when you're starting to see a lot of these younger competitors, we're the time of I'm a points guy or I'm a submission only guy, like those days are gone now. Like if you don't have a complete game where you're constantly thinking of submissions and understanding positional jiu-jitsu and scoring points at the same time, like you just have no business being on the mat at a high competition level. And like these young guys, like they're coming from a different era. They're coming from training everything. And
it's all going to be like Kolabate and the younger Jessica Khan, she's a brown belt, but Kolabate, I think he's like 14 or, I mean, there's a whole nother wave coming. The Andrew Tackett, William's younger brother. I mean, there's just a whole nother wave of young killers that we're getting ready to put on, that we're going to put on from Texas. And I've been talking to the guys in Florida as well. Wagner wants to bring some of his kids out, next time and have them compete against some Texas talent and do some stuff like that. So, I mean, we're all about the Florida love, but the only issue is Florida and Texas is in our coronavirus numbers. So it's kind of like
Florida. It's like Florida's right there with you. You were talking about Texas being the Wild West. Like Florida's not too far away from that, dude. We just figured, fuck it, just open back up.
I couldn't believe like the beaches and just like everything just went to shit. I mean, we did it hard. Me and my wife and my daughter. I mean, my wife was in school and her classes all got pushed, back home. My daughter got pushed from school, and then I work from home, my home office. So we're stuck for like almost 3 months, just in a rotation in our apartment. We moved into a house throughout the coronavirus thing, but we were still in my apartment, which was just a little 2-bedroom. So going through that experience and just being thinking the business is falling apart, the world is falling apart, but really just being able to nut up and just hone in on what mattered. And we did a lot of those podcasts and stuff. I hated it. Like I was so anxious and nervous. Mad props to you guys because like just doing it the way I was doing them, like I was like disgusted. Like I was like, every time I get done, I'm like, oh God, why did I have to do? Like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why are you doing live podcasts, you human scum? What is wrong with you? But then it was a good learning experience. But getting to do like Eddie Bravo and Dracolino and Tim Kennedy and a lot of these guys, when you do a podcast with people, you essentially have done a project with each other. So it kind of builds that rapport for the future. So, once you work with somebody in that fashion, it makes it open for that for you to be able to still network on other things outside too.
You build some kind of a connection with them, some kind of professional
relationship. That's kind of the idea behind it, to keep us relevant and also just to kind of just build connections with those players in the, in the sport while we're still pretty in an uncertain territory.
Are you sad? Lonely? Scared? Do your friends point and laugh at how bad your outside heel hooks are? Have you given up hope? Well, chin up, comrade! BJJ Black Belt and purveyor of fine coffee, Josh STARLORD LeDuc is here to change your life. Buy his new DVD, Quantum Braking Mechanics, with the link in the description to gain all the secrets of foot mangling and knee wrecking to destroy all who stand in your way. Now, Josh doesn't know we're sharing this, so act fast before he finds out and unmakes us with the power of his mind. Shit, that's him. Oh, he's pissed. Anyway, I gotta go, but click the link and always heel hook responsibly.
Yeah, I just hope there's the part of me now is forced to believe the narrative that this won't be as bad, that the death rates are starting to decline, and the reason why we're seeing more people test positive is because we have more testing and it's younger people and blah 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 blah. That's the narrative that myself and you have been forced to deal with because we live in Texas and Florida, where everything was the handcuffs were taken off. So in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that gamble is correct. Because if it's not, we're in trouble.
Here's the thing I think we're all seeing too is that, as much as we all love all the drama and bullshit that happens in jiu-jitsu normally, for me, it doesn't. Sometimes I eat it up. It's like my reality TV. I don't watch reality TV, but if
there was no drama in jiu-jitsu, none of us would have jobs.
We want our silence to be the biggest fuck you of all time. Like, we just want our silence and our work to be the biggest fuck you. Like, I don't have to say fuck you. I don't have to get in an argument with you. I don't have to say a word to you. I can just let my product and my work and my silence speak. When you reach out and tell me good show, or you reach out or people do things after being total shitbags and I don't respond to you, that silence is a fuck you.
I fully understand. And I'm saying that all of the minor bullshit that we see happen still, even though everything in the world is going to shit, it feels so hollow now. It feels like we all love the same weird thing. We all love this weird, stupid, roll on the ground, touch butt in the park thing. And it's amazing. It brings us all together. It's a beautiful gift. And right now it's in jeopardy. We're seeing gyms reaching like financial breaking points, having to close up all over. And it breaks my heart to see everybody still nipping at each other when jiu-jitsu's never been more at risk than it has been right now in terms of just communities. There's like places in the United States, like there are areas where you could throw a rock and hit 5 gyms, like skip it. And you'll just, they're all cloistered and really concentrated. But there's areas, like having studied in upstate New York, I had to drive an hour and a half every weekend to get jiu-jitsu. There was nothing. It was like a dead zone. And if those places go, then whole massive areas will be left without any jiu-jitsu. And I feel like not enough people are talking about that. And it bums me out. So when I see people coming together like you and WeDefy to make something positive happen in this really shitty time, and we've had, TJ from WeDefy on along with our guy, TJ's a fucking stud. He's mad.
He just raised $4,000 over the 4th of July. That's 2 scholarships right there. So I mean, like, that guy's hustling all the time.
I mean, and we had a friend of the show, Dr. Kalura, on to talk about just how important jiu-jitsu can be for veterans that are coming back and are unable to have that same level of trust that they have with their fellow soldiers, with the people in day-to-day life. And it's just that jiu-jitsu helps break those barriers down and bring people together. That's amazing. That's bigger than everybody. That's bigger than us. It's bigger than jiu-jitsu. It's just a good thing.
Yeah, it's like the WeDefy Foundation connected with me because, man, there was that point where I was 300 plus pounds and I was snorting 8 balls a night and drinking, half a bottle of whiskey and just rocking and rolling, man. That was the music biz, and that was just my life for about 3 or 4 years, where it was just nonstop whiskey, nonstop. I mean, there wasn't many women because I was a fat piece of shit, but there was a lot of drugs and there was a lot of alcohol. So, but I was like 300 plus pounds, man, and it was just insane. And like, finally something just clicked, and I started to get my life together. I got back into college, things started going well. I got clean, and I hit 5 years in June 2nd of this year. So it's been from not from alcohol, but from my substance of choice. So it's been good, man. I mean, kind of being able to put that energy into a good into something good and positive. It's jiu-jitsu. Without it, I probably wouldn't. Definitely not own a jiu-jitsu grappling promotion, but I definitely would have probably lost the weight I lost, got in shape, got the confidence, met my wife. I mean, there's a lot of things that come through. I mean, in our community, Gracie, Baja, Texas, under Professor Draculino, a lot of the people in that community are the reason why 3CG exists. Free legal service, everybody wanted to just come in as a community and help us really, in the beginning. And, without them, it's invaluable. So, I mean, you get the community, you get the workout, and you get the mental, you get the mental health aspects. I mean, I don't think this is what jiu-jitsu is what should be prescribed to a bunch of these assholes. They don't need to be on, Lexapro or this. They need to go train more. You know what I mean? Like, it's that's kind of the way I look at it. I think jiu-jitsu should be like in schools. I mean, that's kind of our dream, is to put it everywhere. Is to blow it up as big as possible, to where, when people think martial arts, I think anything that jiu-jitsu is where they go immediately.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get to that point. Karate's still around and still relevant, and in any martial art, you teach your kid at a young age is always going to be beneficial, because you're teaching them respect and you're teaching them goal attainment and discipline and all the other things that come along with a martial art. But when you're teaching them jiu-jitsu, you're actually teaching them something that's a worthwhile self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's been great. I can't say enough about it. My partner's the same way. He's a combat vet as well, West Point grad, and then my background as well. So it's near and dear to our heart. We broke off checks to those guys already. We've done rash guard collabs together. We've done a lot of stuff since day one. So I mean, we've always tried to support these guys. So this was just a good opportunity to kind of turn all that negativity and angst that's been going on in the world, and like, hey, let's do something for a cause that's really going to help a lot of people.
Now, I would love to take this moment, just because I have been talking with my brother. He's a Marine down south, and the situation is pretty dire for the Marines specifically. So if at a future event you could set up like a crayon collection drive for him, that would really help him out. And definitely. I'm probably going to get some shit for that. I love you, Sean. Stay safe, buddy.
But I mean, so what's up with you guys? I mean, what's up with you, Big Kev? Or you just still, I mean, Florida I saw that they shut down in Miami-Dade. They shut gyms and all that shit down again or something, or what's going on?
Man, I have been training at the gym. We have classes. We've been going full classes at the gym. So I've been training in those, which again, we get away with because of some loopholes, and like, it's not really very enforced. We go into the purvey of a after school program, and because we teach police officers, there's all these things that we work through. Yeah, exactly, all these gray areas. But
we live in the gray area right now. Yeah,
exactly. And like, it's funny, man, because there's a part of me, again, I am allowing myself to believe the narrative that this is just not that bad. And I'm hoping that I'm correct, because I'm not going to lie to you. There's a bit of me that is conflicted on a conscientious level, or on a level of, good, right and wrong, that I kind of feel bad about going to the gym and training. But life has to move on, and
it does. Yeah.
This is kind of what we're doing here. And until we get to the point where we start seeing, dead bodies stacked in the streets, I mean, I don't know that we need to really change.
I mean, I think, right, like I said, wear a mask, wash your hands, and go about your days. I mean, if you're working out in a gym, like, if it's just so subjective. Like, a symptomatic spread is very rare. It's not happening as much. Or, now you can, people take that and they're like, oh wait, you can spread it asymptomatically. But usually if you're showing symptoms, that means the viral load is at its peak, right? And that should be when you're spreading, the virus the most. And if you're not showing any symptoms, wouldn't that maybe say maybe you don't have a lot of the virus in you and you're not going to share it? I mean, or spread it?
Who fucking knows? And even like me and you talking about it, like, I consider myself a pretty educated person. And I think you are the same, and Kevin, whatever. But like, as much as I read on the topic, as much as I research on the topic, trust me, I do. And believe me, I try to keep a very open-minded approach, because that's what I believe, that I am an open-minded person, sincerely. I look at a journalistic integrity.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
That I try my best to make sure I look at both sides of the story. But when you keep getting, news, and you keep getting information that's changing over and over and over again, it's very difficult not to follow that. Even me and you, like intelligent people, I read stories. I'm like, well, dude, like, a week ago you were saying something different, and now we're saying this. And like, infection rates are high, but cases of deaths are going low. I've seen things in Florida that dictate to say that hospital beds are starting to fill back up again in ICU.
They're saying that, in Houston, it's a real reality. I mean, like, my grandma, she had some lady that's been like a mom to me. I've been dealing with this on top of everything. She had a massive stroke like a couple of weeks ago, and trying to deal with this and her care, like, I mean, she's right hemisphere, ischemic stroke, like straight up, kind of lights out on the right hemisphere. So she's been paralyzed on her left side. And I mean, she can't really talk, can't do anything. She can't walk. So she has an issue a few days ago, and my dad has to run her out to the hospital at like 10 p.m. in the middle of all this craziness in downtown Houston. And they did not get her a bed until today at like 2 in the afternoon. She was literally in the hallway at the ER. You know what I'm saying? Like,
as hospital beds and as ICUs start to become more and more full with COVID cases, because that's the thing.
Everybody's
like
pushed aside.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't dying from this, but a lot of people need hospitalization, ICU utilization, which takes hospital beds out of place. So now, if you're in a car accident or you had a heart attack and you go to the hospital, like there's not an ICU bed available for you, or there's not even a hospital bed available for you.
Like just in
the whole chaos.
Super minor note. Like earlier today, my mom dropped a pan on her foot, and we were so worried that she broke her toe. But we were in the back of our heads, we were thinking, where are we going to take her? Like every place where we would get it checked out is a potential infection.
Take her to a chiropractor. They can fix anything.
Yeah, no shit, they can. You get you a good chiropractor. That's all you need in life.
That's all you need, man. There's always one in a jiu-jitsu gym too. So you're good.
Always back alley chiropractor.
There's always like the gym chiropractor. No,
exactly.
Shit.
Shout out, Dr. AJ Vasquez. What's up? If you're listening to this,
Greg Swier's our guy. Greg's in Axis. It's Axis too, actually. Axis chiropractor and fucking.
Hey dude,
in the same group.
Dude, can I get a back crack? Just like I'm good for it.
Hey, when you get our age, Kevin, you're gonna really, really appreciate your chiropractor buddy.
Screw that! I'm gonna live forever.
They keep you going. You might live forever, but your back's still gonna go out.
Your body is gonna make really weird noises at certain points, and you're gonna need to get it checked out. So,
I've had to like readjust and crack my spine like 8 times during this pop.
Frozen Kevin.
Frozen Kevin. We'll keep it going for a
second.
Can
you
hear me?
Kevin's back here.
Sorry about that. But I think the only thing that I'm dealing with in a unique way is that Gordon Ryan repeatedly like bullies the governor of the state I live in, which has just been really fun to watch.
The Scott Murphy stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
I'll laugh at it too. I can't help it.
I'm like, this could be a platform for him. Take a run at him if you don't like him. Take a run at him.
I think Gordon would probably want to put that guy unconscious if he ever met him.
I was referring to
Gordon's ruthless.
I was referring to like run against him.
I mean, Gordon Ryan already like considered the Donald Trump of grappling. Basically, everybody wants to put him like this guy's a fucking right heretic. He hates black people. He hates homeless people. I'm like, come on, man. Like look,
it's not that bad.
If you're a human being on this planet and you can't say, hey, look, black people in America have not been given a fair shake, because just out of getting bed, us 3 here, we have an advantage just by getting out of bed every day because of the color of our skin. Yeah. That's what they're saying. They're not saying Black Lives Matter more. They're saying, hey, let's just get things on a little equal playing field and just give us a shot,
That's another. We live in such a world of absolutes anymore, where people just can't see the other side of people's evil.
I was that dumb racist redneck. I mean, I was raised with. I probably heard the N-word way too much growing up. Where I was from in South Texas, and growing up, I joined the military real young, and I got to be exposed to a lot of different cultures and people. And that really, one of my best friends was a black guy in the military. What's up, from Mario? But I never got that. I mean, the racist stuff I saw and I heard growing up. But I was like, why? Was always my, like, why are you saying these things about these people? And then like, oh, this is how you got to be, So if you see you shouldn't date with outside your race. And like, it was just like crazy, like Southern brainwashing. And like,
yeah. And the important thing to remember, and this is the biggest issue, because again, this is another thing I've researched a lot on just because it's been in my head a lot. The important thing to remember is that, like, to a certain extent, slavery in America never died. And people that deny that are just lost. They don't understand it. Like,
what's indentured servitude at this point is what.
Yeah, the evil mental philosophies between whites being dominant to blacks has still been in the mindset, or those little, and it's not exactly the same thing, but you think the situation of slavery. So you had slavery, Southern people on slavery, they took slaves away. Now, do you think all of a sudden the whites and the blacks in the South are fucking cool? You think the white and again, even to take it a step farther, at the time slavery was legal. It was a horrible stain on humanity. but slavery was legal.
As much as I would
slavery-
love. As much as I would love to get into the completely botched Reconstruction post-American Civil War, which
Let's
I
talk
would
about
love to
jiu-jitsu.
do. No, I mean, like, I would love to do it. I feel like we should stay on task because.
Well, you did. I have an advanced degree in.
Ruin it, Kevin.
Yeah, I thought we were having a good. I thought we were going to a good spot too. But, you know, I didn't. You didn't realize I have an advanced degree about etymology. I can't even say the fucking word in African American studies. So.
Mine's in social work, so I kind of get it from all over.
Well,
what the fuck's the word? Etymology? You said it earlier.
Etymology.
Etymology. There we go.
Yeah.
Etymology? I thought it was entomology, or that may be a different word.
I think etymology is the study of bugs, actually.
Well, none of us really have a good grasp of the English language, and I have a journalism degree, so that's wonderful. But okay, so there was a question I really wanted to ask you, just because Third Coast Grappling has definitely catered to a wide variety of combat sports athlete. Is there anyone you have yet to get on a card from either like an MMA background, collegiate wrestling, or strictly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that you would love to get on a future card?
Man, thinking about it, I can probably give you a couple of names, and these are guys that we've almost, like JT Torres and like, you know, Levi Jones Leary, you know, all these guys are stuff that we potentially could have stuff down the road, you know, together. But I mean, the big names like the Buchechas and all that, you know, that's big money. Those guys aren't coming out for, you know, anything less than big bucks, and you know, they're not taking a reduction because of the coronavirus, you know, discount. They're not playing that. But I would probably say Felipe Pena. I would say Preguiça. I mean, I've trained with him. He's from my same lineage. You know, he's every time he comes into town, he's a good guy. But I've always wanted that Felipe and Gordon match. So I mean, you know, if that ever does happen and we put it together, I mean, Felipe's told me he only wants to do it with me. Gordon, you know, I just told both of them, I'm like, go do it on who's number one at Flow Grappling. Let them pay you both what you want, and let me just watch it. Like, I'm so tired of negotiating this because I've been doing it for like a year. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world because I think they're fucking trolling me half the time. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you say yes to this, and now you want to change it to this, and now you say yes to this, and this to that. So it'll happen when it's time to happen. I'd like to see it happen when jiu-jitsu's back at its peak, like at an ADCC trials or, you know, something like that.
Super event or something like that.
Yeah,
like
I'm not
Grand Prix or something.
Athletes $20,000 to compete one time on my event anymore. Like, we're out of that business.
Would you get the Sheik of Dubai to pay for it because you don't give a shit?
No, we're actually sustainable now. Like the Kumite events have made money for us, and you know, we haven't taken a loss since last year. So we actually are growing now as a business, and we've restructured and we've gotten some new capital in, and we've really done a lot of good, you know, things over the coronavirus break. So I mean, as far as business wise, I mean, Third Coast is in the best shape we've ever been in. So I mean, as far as the rest of the year, August 8th, you know, September, October, I mean, we're coming up. I mean, we're still got 6 or 7 events we're going to crank out this year, and they're going to be, you know, they're going to be top notch. We're just going to keep getting better. You know, each one that we try to put out.
Let me ask you a question real quick. So you talked about how Buchecha and some of these bigger name games, like maybe Torres, don't come out because you're not paying them enough. Like, who is paying these guys? I mean, maybe you're more privy.
Well,
to the reality of it.
Didn't pay those guys. But
yeah, no, no, but legitimately,
honestly, we were paying. I mean, I'll tell you something. I mean, our first year in business, I put out almost $300,000 in fighter pay, almost $300K our first year. Like, we came in and we said, you know what, we're putting it all on the table. It's all or nothing. Like, we're not going to do this small build up and do this. We're, you know, like we've told you before, we wanted to hack the line and just get our brand out there and just work it out as we go. And we learned some hard lessons that first year. You know, like. It's the super fight format, I think, as a whole, the way we were doing it, it wasn't sustainable, you know. So I think pivoting to where tournaments are working, you maybe pay a little bit of show money to somebody, where you know to have them come out and compete in the tournament, rather than paying them $5,000 to show, $5,000 to win, $5,000 to submit.
Then if they win, you get there's still the opportunity to make the big money. You got to win it.
You get $10,000 or something, you know, and I'll cover your flight and your lodging, and I'll give you a little bit of show money if you're at that level. I mean, that's reasonable right now. And I think the days of, you know, $10,000 show money to this guy and that, who's ever paying it is not in it to make money. They're in it for their ego.
I can't see I can't see a reason why Pachecha and some of these bigger names that in the past might not have come out for smaller bullshit events, but the level of professional jiu-jitsu. I mean, I imagine you could still pay a couple grand, $3-4 grand, $5 grand. That's pretty damn good money for a night's work. Like I said,
think that the higher level you get, I feel like the more you're able to demand based against the risk of injury.
But but what are you demanding?
Also,
it for?
You got to look at a lot of these guys want to protect their image. They want to protect their wins, and like they don't want to take too big of a risk that might make them look bad. And that's just the honest truth. There's some guys that preach the no ego bullshit in jiu-jitsu, but have the biggest egos and will not compete unless every rule is exactly to the T. Our weight is perfectly this. The opponent is this. I mean, even people come to me, hey man, this guy's off a loss. I'd really like to kind of do this. Like I'm like, what?
Yeah, but my point is this is like I can't see a world where Pachecha is doing well enough that making $5 grand for an event, I'm talking about, for a couple hours of work and a trip to Houston is not worth his while, regardless of the outcome. I mean, what is he really doing? Like, and how much damage is really going to be done to his reputation at this point? Because honestly, like, I don't know. I mean, Pachecha is a big name. Torres is a big name, but in the world of modern professional jiu-jitsu, no one even knows who the hell they are.
Like JT, we had him versus Lucas Valente, which was going to be a great match at 3CG, the one we canceled. Yeah. So, he's a reasonable guy. I mean, his ask, money-wise wasn't unreasonable. I mean, it just didn't work out. We had shot a ton of footage and content with somebody, like the Sonder Marketing, Alexis, that runs Jiu-Jitsu Radio. Those guys. So, we had him shoot a lot of stuff for us down there. And, it a long day. But yeah, man, those guys, it's just a matter of, I think, opportunity. I mean, I don't like Pachecha and those guys. They don't really have to fight anymore, Like, I mean, a lot of them, I think, come from well-to-do families.
Probably, yeah.
Well-to-do backers. I mean, Ruka has been a big supporter of Pachecha for a long time. I'm sure he makes good sponsorship money. I mean, if some of these smaller guys are having, like, people paying their airfare and wanting to pay their show money for them to compete on our cards, you can only imagine what some of these, giants of the game are getting offered,
I still feel like sometimes that, and maybe I'm wrong in this regard. I still feel like that sometimes there's like an old school kind of block with the old, more established Brazilian academy that just is like, no, you save it for the IBJJF, or you save it for the ADCC, or you save it for whatever.
There's a huge block like that.
Yeah, and because that's not real jiu-jitsu, and it bothers me that's still something. I don't think it's as big as it used to be, but I think there's some kind of an ugly stench in that.
Well, and that's something like you'll see like the new age of promoter coming out, right? Like you got Josh Leduc's been around a while, but you got like a Jordan Pietzman guy that does the Woodstock stuff, and then
Pietzman. Shout out to Subspectrum. He's a friend of the show.
Us new guys coming up, the new generation, we don't have all that baggage of being a black belt for 10 or 12 years that know all the bullshit and the BJJ politics and know all the stories. Like I like being ignorant to some of this stuff because it allows me to work with anybody and not have to worry about bias towards this or that, or heard about some story from 2009 Worlds where the guy called you a pussy or something and now you don't want me to work with him. Like I don't have time for any of that. So it's like, it's good to be kind of ignorant to a lot of some of the history and past of some of these guys, because I'll make any match as long as it makes sense, So
that's cool, man. That's a good thought of that. I never thought of it that way, about being ignorant to it and just saying like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. I don't know half the shit. Like my professor
Dracolino comes to me and he tells me, I hear all these stories from not just him but other people. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I wish you would have told me that. But I still put it in the back of my mind, like there's been some controversy, like Roberto Jimenez's dad, amazing guy, Raul. If you've ever been to a jiu-jitsu event and you've seen Raul in his son's corner, you'll hear him very, very loudly.
Big dude. Kind of looks like Smash Pass J a little bit. like a Puerto Rican Smash Pass J.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome, man. I mean, but he rubs some people the wrong way, and he's very passionate about stuff, but like, for some reason, we've always gotten along, but there's always just been history and people this. And, that's when I finally had to put it out. Like, I'm in like a no gossip thing anymore. Like, I don't care about any of these guys past. I don't care what this promoter did to you 2 years ago. I don't care about any of this stuff. I care about how we can work together and if we can put an exciting match on together. And if we can help build your brand and help build our brand at the same time, that's the way I approach everybody now. Like, it's no more, when you start talking, like, you don't know me like that for us to even be talking about something that personal. So for people to just come up and be like, hey, did you see what so-and-so said? And I've never met the person in person. It just is kind of disrespectful. Like, no, I didn't see it. Like, I probably have them unfollowed or muted or, like, on purpose. Like, I don't want to see that shit, So it's the new age that's coming up. I think there is an old guard in jiu-jitsu. No offense, Kevin. but there is an older guard, and there was an old the conservative way jiu-jitsu was done in Brazil, and the whole master student thing. But I've been lucky to have a professor that's been real open with it. He's never played the politics with me. He's never been real or tried to direct me one way or another, and he's just allowed me to kind of free think and give me good advice and mentor me just from his experience in the industry. So that's been a big plus. Is just we've kind of, the way things were is what made me start Third Coast Grappling. I went to an event in Houston that was kind of like a fight to win kind of knockoff in a way, a little bit. I wouldn't say a knockoff, but they have kind of the same model, loaded up with a bunch of super fights, and that was it. But there was no like big names on their cards. So like some of these cards were going to like 1 or 1:30 in the morning. I think a friend of mine fought at like 1:30 in the morning in a blue belt match in front of like 3 people. And I was just like, fuck, man, like this is it. Like, I'd been to fight to wins, and I was like, cool, that's a cool environment. But I was like, I just felt I was a grappling fan and an MMA fan, and I was like, my cocky blue belt self was like, fuck it, let's go try and change the game. And it was a bit of a bumpy ride, but I mean, we're kind of settling into our own, like our second year. We've got our numbers down, we've got our formats down, our setups, our teardowns, we've got our scheduling, our production is getting better every event. So I mean, like I said, it's about evolving, and what I'm seeing, with the old guard is that it's an old way of thinking about things, very linear, very kind of, the way it's always been, whereas kind of my mind's all over the charts. I'm throwing a Royal Rumble with 9 kids on Saturday, like literally a Royal Rumble. Like we're going to have like the Undertaker's theme song, Stone Cold, like 2 kids are going to start in the middle and go at it. And then we're going to have the crowd counting down 10, 9, and then the music's going to hit and the next kid's going to run down and jump on one of them. Like there could potentially be 9 kids on the mat at one time trying to submit each other.
That's pretty funny.
It's going to be that shit crazy.
That's hilarious.
So let's talk about the bracket real quick before we go. So what are some of your favorites for this event? So who are some of the guys you think have the biggest opportunities to win this thing, and why?
Man, like Arnaldo Madonna, I mean, he's not Super 190. He won Nogi Worlds, I believe, in 2017. And then Augusto, they're both really accomplished, heavier weight guys that haven't really gotten the shine that they deserve, but they do have some good credentials. So expect those matches between Cyborg, especially Maidana, to be more, I mean, it's going to be action packed. I mean, they both come out heavy clubs. I mean, they're going to want to, push the pace. So that's a tough match for Cyborg. A lot of people don't really know Maidana, but he's going to put up a good match. So watch that match in the first round, obviously Roberto and Nikki. And then I think it'll be interesting to see Johnny Tama, how he plays with Augusto, which I think Tama needs to try and keep it on his feet and kind of, and outpace him and just kind of scramble and not, obviously don't get held down, because the guy's probably going to have 100 pounds on him, or, at least 80 pounds.
Tama's got a really good guard though. He played some of his butt really good. I saw him he gave Pedro Marino some fits when they went.
Oh man,
it's King, yeah.
And they Pedro and Johnny just fought each other again, but man, Pedro snatched at that guillotine like it was.
Oh, it's insane.
Man, and
I've never seen, and it's not, he just grabs it, just rips your head off. There ain't.
I train with him, and it's like I go in there always just trying to shoot on him and act all crazy, and you'll shoot one time on Pedro, and then your throat will feel like you have strep throat for like a week from his guillotines. It's just it's just a different feel. Like these guys are coming up with these different tweaks on techniques and different takes on them, and it's something weird to see.
Yeah,
but
don't forget Barbosa either. Barbosa's freaking.
Oh, that's what I was going up to next.
Nobody's really talking about him.
Now Lucas is obviously the favorite on that side of the bracket to go to the finals. Yeah. That's why I'm not really saying much about him. Like Lucas is going to come in and he's going to put on a show. I mean, he's looking leaner, he's looking in better shape. He was training with those guys down at Guigos with Herber Santos and those guys in Brazil. Asaki Bayanese, they were all training together. Probably just mixing, having a good time. It's. I don't know. It's anybody's thing, but I think I would call it probably a Lucas
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's tough on that side.
Roberto, I'm gonna just call Roberto. I'm calling it. The kids getting to the finals.
I tell you, man, that's a bold prediction, but I don't think it's completely out of the question. I think the way Roberto is playing is going right now. It's just a question of whether or not he'll be able to impose his game on these bigger guys. Because Roberto, he's not a small kid. He's probably gonna be coming in close to 200 pounds. Yeah, he's a big kid, probably 190-ish or so. He'll be walking around.
I'll probably come in between for the 180. He was cutting from I think 195. So
okay,
he'll probably come in around 195, 200 fully.
Yeah, he's definitely a big kid. He's a really big kid, but Abreu is massive and Nick Rodriguez is massive.
I was just gonna say in my mind, Cyborg foot sweeps everybody. And just like takes it. I'm really interested to see how that second match on the left bracket's gonna go. Just because I have we all like Nicky. I
can't wait to see how he does.
I want to know if he's changed his game up at all. Since
Gordon said he has. I mean, Gordon says that Nicky's been like developing a leg game. The thing that's going to be interesting is I think whoever can get to the back first. If Roberto can get to Nicky Rod's back and choke out Nicky Rod, the whole fucking world's going to explode.
Now, here's the thing. I think after that EBI overtime loss at Submission Underground to Kyle Bam, he's probably just done nothing but back escapes, just really solid. I love an image in my head of just
he's so good on the back. He's so good.
I know. Shit.
And he's good at getting there too.
That's what I'm saying. If he gets it, and he has so many setups from the feet, from standing. I mean, there's so many different setups to get to the back. I mean, it's him and Nicky's going to be fun. Like Gordon said, he's seen the match in the gym a lot of times, and he said that this is one that you're definitely going to want to strap in for.
I mean, personally, his arm drag, like his guard pull arm drag to back take is just so smooth.
Where he crosses that arm over, even in the gi, he does it so well. It's just it's hard to beat.
Oh my God, this bracket.
Nick is just such a competitor. He's just what he lacks in technical know-how, but he's also a very intelligent kid that picks up things and so athletically gifted.
Well, his double is great just because he'll put his head right into your sternum, and so he's like he's just like stiff
Jordan Burroughs style.
The Jordan Burroughs.
Oh my God, let's get him on one of these. Holy shit!
We've got some stuff working. Like we're trying to do some co-platform stuff to where we're going to do collegiate wrestlers. We're developing the rule set right now, but we're going to do 8 collegiate wrestlers, like under 3CG, hybrid rules that we're developing still, but do it on Flow Wrestling. So that's why we're focused grappling. Like we wanted to not pigeonhole ourselves into a jiu-jitsu or professional jiu-jitsu format. Like we have aspirations to go and professionalize on the wrestling side and really give us some brackets. The Olympics are postponed. The trials were postponed. Let's throw 8 of these guys in a bracket. $10,000 in wrestling, as a prize. Like these guys would they're like, what? Yeah. Like $10,000 I get to win?
Give an opportunity to compete still.
I mean, what's interesting is that Bo Nickel has expressed in interviews, once the through the Olympics, he's like, I've only trained jiu-jitsu twice. I would love to get back into.
He wants that Gordon match back, and I kept telling Howell and those guys that Flow Grapple, I'm like, hey guys, here's a good match, take it. This is served up on a platter. Like you guys have been pushing the wrestling and jiu-jitsu angle on your platform. Here it is. Bo Gordon, we're just not into that anymore, man. I'm not into paying that kind of money for one match anymore. Especially right now. You can't have spectators, you can't do anything. So it's your revenue is basically pretty fixed right now. So we've had to get creative, but we got sponsors like Marriott's came in and sponsored us. I mean, we've got a lot of good support during this time. So, I mean, we're growing and we're going to keep going. But yeah, like I said, I think, unbiased pick Roberto versus Lucas in the finals. That's what I'm thinking.
What a great match that is.
What a great match from, I think the BJJ Fanatics Grand Prix they did. I think it'd be a rematch. No, he didn't fight him there. That was that was Cody Steele that fought Barbosa.
I think it's Nick. I think it's Nick and Barbosa, but I think it's Nick. I think Nick and Cyborg have the match of the fucking decade. I think they want to try to kill each other.
I'm telling you, our rule set, and Gordon even said it, our rule set is tailor-made for Nicky because he can do his thing in regulation and 11 points aren't given. That guy's motor and his skill set and just his go at you makes it really easy for him to score, especially, you know, against, you know, guys that maybe not be so well adverse on the feet. And our rules push the action, you know, you can't stall, you have to really get after it. So I think if Nicky Rod takes Roberto into overtime, Roberto has to finish him. I don't think Roberto's going to beat him by decision, and I don't think he's going to beat him in overtime. It's going to have to be a crazy submission. But I think Nicky Rod, if he gets him to overtime, I think he can score and win.
I think you're underestimating just how piss furious Cyborg is going to be going into this match, just because of Nick's like.
Well, he's still got to beat Maeda.
I know that's true. After that whole after that ADCC, like Nick went on a tear, just rebranding himself as the Black Belt Slayer, and everyone was pointing to he fought Ali, but like that Cyborg match was the real one where everyone was like, "Oh shit!"
And Orlando Sanchez, what he did with him?
I completely forgot about that.
That might have been the most impressive thing. Yeah,
I remember sitting in the lobby talking to the Fight Sports guys, and they're like, "There's no way he beats Muhammad. There's no way, you know, that happens." And then Nicky goes out and beats Muhammad, and then we're sitting there, and they're like, "No chance at Cyborg. No, there's no way. You know, he's gonna come get him, beat Cyborg." And now everybody's like, "No, there's no way he's gonna beat, you know, Big O. Big O, he can't take him down. Beats Big O," and everybody's like, "What?" Like,
bro, he fucking head snatched big fucking Orlando, and fucking pulled him down on the ground. You know how big and strong that fucking guy is, dude. He's a monster.
His nickname is the Cuban tree stump.
Kynan was like, there is levels to this shit, but congrats. But Kynan's on a different level right now. I mean, that guy's getting ready to compete down there at BJJ Stars, and I think him and Kynan him and Felipe Progrisa and the Gi, it's never happened before. It's gonna be I wanted to make that match. That was one we wanted to do. But I mean,
him and Pena?
Yeah, no, Pena and Kynan, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that's gonna be.
I think we're not too far away from seeing Kanye Duarte and really like taking over. I think he's got enough game to give Gordon Ryan a real legit run here pretty soon. I think those guys, Atos, are getting there.
Kynan just has that real slow kind of mudslide type game. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't do like when I watched the Spider Invitational, it's like he'll move like 3 or 4 times and then like win. You know, like it's those rule sets that allow that type of stuff. The guys that are so used to like the IBJJF and like, okay, I just got to get the guard pass and then I'll ride out the points win. That's why people are like, oh, well, why don't you let people win by points? You know, why does it go to overtime if they don't get 11? Because I don't want to have a match that just ends.
So they can't do that, right?
You're going to do that. You're going to play the rules and you're going to try and score and install the rest of the time. So we make it either you go and you tech the guy or you submit him or you're going into overtime where you really have to get after it.
Yeah, I like that rule format too. I really like that rule format a lot.
So it gives the best of both worlds, best of points, best of sub only. So that's kind of why we built our rule set the way we did.
Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun. But yeah, I think that's a solid place to end. Holy shit. Just a massive card. We're so excited. Ryan, thank you so much for stopping by, giving us your 2 cents on the goings on and some looks at your thoughts on this massive card happening July 11th. Do not miss it.
I appreciate you guys, man. I mean, it was it's always fun to come talk with you guys, and you know, things are in a much better place for me and just for the business and for everybody. And I think there's a lot of good vibes and positivity going into this event and just beyond. So we appreciate you guys as well, having us, you know, letting us come on and promote the event and just shoot the shit with you guys for a little bit. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll be watching this weekend for sure. I'm excited. It's just there's so many Cinderella stories and so many exciting storylines.
I'll make sure to give the Kevins a shout out, Dirty Uncle Kev and
my dog.
I'll make sure to give you all a little shout out.
On the cusp of that, I will announce that I was supposed to be at this most recent event, but you know, due to concerns
I
did stand you up, but it was not because of your event. It was because I do not trust going on a plane right now, which I think is a lot more understandable. But I will make the promise that one day both young and old Kev will be
third coast to Houston. You're competing on the card, so both of y'all. So y'all better fucking start training now because I'm thinking winning time frame. Maybe the 2 Kevins in a tag team match versus.
That's not too bad. I liked it. I liked it. You got to give me a week.
I will. Oh shit! I will go into a submission underground style tag team match with Kevin G.
No, a third coast grappling style tag team match.
Okay, all right.
Underground, and they're the originators of Canada. But our rule set with the tag team format, man, like it's insane.
We have to find another podcast tandem to take us on. It'll be like
get a
battle
for the with a mill or somebody.
I got it.
The meal. He's too good.
Open guard.
I don't want to get embarrassed and get submitted by a meal.
Open guard. Jake Watson of the Open Guard Cast. We're calling you guys out.
Ooh.
How about that? All right.
Open Guard Cast versus Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. I will make that happen. We will make that fight happen.
That's actually, I like that.
Jake's gonna kick my. I've talked to him a few times. He's a really swell guy. He's just gonna eat me alive. Hey Kev, you cool doing this whole thing? I'll just sit there. I'll give you moral support.
Hey, we'll give you the platform. Whatever.
If you try and tag me in for this match, I'm gonna take my hand away. I'm not gonna.
You're gonna pull a Craig Jones and Nicky Rod versus Vinny Magalesh and Kyle Bam and just kind of just stand there.
100%.
Hey Kev, hey, you're doing great, Kev. Keep it up.
I'll have Doritos. I'll just be like, you just got to stand up, bud.
Just sitting there drinking a saloon door beer, just enjoying yourself on the side. Oh shit! I gotta put this down. Tag me in.
All right.
Well, but I'm serious. Hey, tag team. I'm all about the tag team for fun. Me and my partner Zach are going to do one against another. We're trying to either get another promoter or just another fun, duo. Maybe like Brian Cushing and like somebody else. Like me and my partner are really doing this. So once I start back training next week, I think probably. I would say our September, October event, we're gonna come out and do a tag team match. Me and
my knee's jacked, man. I got a fucking stress fracture in my knee. I was supposed to be on Josh LeDuc's card next week. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it or not. But I'm definitely gonna. I definitely got another month or so. I'm just gonna say fuck it and start training again. I can't.
Well, hey, maybe Halloween time is good for everybody. Our Halloween show is gonna be kind of like the weekend before Halloween, or I think it's mid October actually. That would be perfect. And Texas weather's real nice. Hopefully coronavirus is not as bad. And then we can all dress up like assholes, do cool walkouts, and then y'all can fight.
I like that. I will be drinking beer. You don't have to put me on camera. I'll just sit in the corner. But I will.
Oh, man, they got me. They were like, Ryan, hey, we saw you handing beer to the commentators. I'm like, all right. You got me.
All right. You're right.
We just have a whole. We have a podcast, a BJJ podcast invitational where all the athletes are just different podcasts.
You got to get Raph Esparza in there with somebody over there.
Ooh, you know what? That's actually I kind of like that. I like where you're going with that.
Raph loves the pro wrestling stuff.
Let Raph pick a partner. I think you and Raph.
That's the way right there.
Raph gets a black belt, about 200 pounds. I think that's our fucking goal.
What about Raph and Jordan Keats, man? Raph and Jordan versus you guys.
Oh shit! All right. Well, Jordan just got his brown belt, so so if it's October, I have a set amount of time to actually learn jiu-jitsu. Because I'll tell you, the full disclosure, I've been faking it this whole time. I've never rolled once in my entire life, so I got a few months to really get good. And see how Brittany from Grappling Hearts is just commentating on the massacre that's happening.
Set it up. We'll set it up for charity. We'll do something cool with it, man, and really like blow it up on the platform.
You know what, Ryan? Okay, this is gonna be fun.
We'll make it happen. You better not embarrass me, Kevin.
And we'll also legal so old man Kevin can rip somebody's ACL off. So I mean, it'll be fun for everybody.
That's right.
Just like Raph Esparza walks to the ring with Tex Johnson and your eyes light up. Like, oh yeah.
I'd go against Tex again. Fuck Tex. I almost beat that fucker. That's right. Don't get me started.
I didn't want to kind of blow on this Royal Rumble stuff. We're gonna do like old vintage WWE walkouts, and like there's gonna be a point probably where we're gonna hit the Undertaker's theme, and we're gonna have if you're on the match, you gotta freeze, and all the lights are gonna go out, and the Undertaker theme is gonna hit. And we're gonna have the spotlight, and the kid's gonna do the walk. And then the kid's going to do the arm raise, and then the lights are going to come up on the venue. Then he's going to jump in and start whipping everybody's ass.
Now, are we talking American Badass Undertaker or Dead Man Undertaker?
Straight up, no, like old school, like cryptic, like sacrifice Stephanie McMahon. Like
hell yeah! All right,
it's gonna be great. Just tune in this weekend. I think you guys will enjoy the show.
In no time at all, I've now agreed to be a part of a theoretical podcast battle royale with my podcast husband Kevin Gallagher.
We got to start calling Raph Esparza out. You got to start talking shit to Raph.
I think it's time to call Raph out. I think Kevin. I think you're the man to do it. I think you and
oh shit.
Call us. Say, hey Raph, get one of your Hollywood buddies to come join us and let's have a little scrap.
Oh my god! All right. Well, there's a very good chance I'm just going to cut all that. But this has been an incredibly lively episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. I have been your host, Kevin Bradley, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Kevin Gallagher, and fan favorite guest, Ryan McGuire.
I don't know
Ryan,
my fan favorite, but definitely not promoter favorite. But I love you guys, and we're gonna keep putting on badass shows. Thanks for having us out, having me on.
Once again, that's July 11th. Go check out that card. It's absolutely
8 p.m.
stacked.
Central, 9 p.m. Florida time. Yeah, we're on the same time as the UFC. But you know what? You've had the recall button on your fucking TV since you're 5 years old. Like, let's
Click
get it
back
together.
and forth. Click it back and forth.
Back and forth. Let's go.
Be there or be square. Good night, everybody.
Right on, guys.
Yeah, man.